Hi, in this video I'm going to be talking about making a likeness of Christopher Walken. Now, many years ago I made an attempt at a Christopher Walken image, and I'm pretty sure it's buried deep inside one of my folios from years ago when I started using Zbrush. Let me just see if I can find it. Pretty sure it was before then, but let me just see if we get 2D images somewhere. From 2014. I'm pretty sure there was a folio of everything before. Anyway, I did a really sketchy Christopher Walken piece and it was pretty cool. I used like a couple of images and just left it at that. So I'm going to find some proper reference of Christopher Walken, and particularly in the 80s when he was more kind of like this, because there's probably better range of reference then because he was at his peak. But he's got particularly heavy eyelids. I mean, look up now, you know, you can't really use that as reference, but I suppose you could to see the bits that have moved. You know, you could get some idea, you can see the skeleton almost through this, like the eye and all that stuff, but definitely want to go with something like this. He's got these really baggy extra ducts in his eyes, so I'm going to start sculpting away whatever I think. I'm going to start by just pulling this mesh around to a rough shape, right, to the Christopher Walken base shape, right, and it's going to boom, drag some jaw down like that, right, a little bit of a jaw recess there. I'm not going to talk about technical terms of bones and muscles and stuff like that. I'll keep this as kind of as mainstream as possible, mainly because I don't want to bog you down with terminologies that you don't really need to know. Right, so I'm kind of drawing in where the skeleton is. So you imagine the skeleton lying under here. You know, you've got this bridge of the nose. Right, there's a bridge of the nose and it kind of stops there, right? But what happens is you get all this extra nasal tissue and, you know, nice stuff lying under there. So I'm just blocking in a base shape, not necessarily Christopher Walken at this point, but still looking at the reference and taking in some influence from what I can see. He has a bit of a prominent mouth part here. He's got kind of a squarish head. Yeah, kind of got the proportions decent there. Now you're not seeing the reference I'm looking at because I'm just clicking randomly through Google, but here's a nice one. Very kind of rugged looking Christopher Walken there. Now I could put this here and do a little bit of see-through. Just Alt-Tab to go back to that. And, you know, click on that, and then that's me got something that I can use right here. So if you ever use ZBrush this way, it can be quite handy to get kind of halfway, and then you can use your reference right there instead of using Spotlight. So this has been streamed on Twitch, but I might turn this into a nice long YouTube video in the future. And I'm tanning some wine as I go, but I'll likely do a voice over all of this anyway and talk about what I'm doing. know, think of placement of things and shapes and form. Don't look at it as a face, just look at it as a bunch of shapes. You know, just think about it if you're sculpting a tree. Don't actually think you're sculpting a head, because what you want to do is just capture these shapes really early. Right, I'm going to go straight into Dynamesh, because Dynamesh is just gives you all your quads end up the same detail, and that's good because you'll have to build up that detail and kind of qualify yourself for the next level of detail. You know, work on the current sculpt level of detail as much as possible, and then you can move on. Now the first Christopher Walken I did only took about an hour and a half or something. Wasn't long, maybe 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, because I was still getting used to Zbrush. But this one I'm going to take a little bit longer. I'm also going to use a little bit of Z-remesher to get good edge flow, and then eventually I'll retopologize, because even though you can use Dynamesh all the way, and then you can sort of subdivide Dynamesh and it'll give everything the same level of detail, what I want is to be able to capture some of that in a topological edge flow. You know what I'm saying? It's like where the geometry actually flows with the shape, whereas this completely doesn't. So Dynamesh doesn't really give a toss about, you know, this edge flow and stuff. And as you can see, I'm making a complete mess of the ear. That's fine. Once I get past that, it'll be all good. I'm showing my cleavage. Is that better? Yeah. Alright. A bit more respectable. So I'm going to work in asymmetry for a while. You know, I'm almost like hearing his voice, like, you know, wow. I don't know what he does. He's got these amazing expressions. That often happens when you're sculpting someone, is that you start imagining what, you know, the different roles, and it's good to watch like some films, because you might get even better vantage points, and if you can get one of the films in HD, that's a good idea. Right. Now it looks nothing like Christopher Walken, and this is what you have to get past, is all this kind of ugly baggage. Get through the ugly phase. Let's think, right? Distance between nose and the top lip. Size of the lips. Let's go through this methodically. Straightness of the lips. The up and the down of the lips. The space of the lips before we get to this sort of chin dip. The distance of the chin. The squareness of the chin. And then how it actually blends in to this part. Right, so there's simple ways to analyze stuff, is what I'm kind of getting at. And you analyze that stuff, and then you'll be good to carry on. Now it's definitely nowhere near looking like Christopher Walken right now. Like if I was to post this on Facebook, say, oh, guess who this is a likeness of? No one's going to say Christopher Walken. You might get Jean-Luc Picard if you're lucky, because nearly every sculpt goes through a Jean-Luc Picard phase, especially when it's bald. Right, or a Bruce Willis phase. You know, I love these little expressions he's got in these movies. Yeah, he's so full of character. So eventually I'm starting to see that he's got quite prominent cheekbones. Right, the hair totally sells him. Like, his hair is pretty fundamental to his silhouette or his profile. So as soon as you start adding this hair, even though it's starting to look like a kind of African tourist relic, check that mullet out. He's starting to look like a Craze brother. So wasn't he in the Craze Brothers? No. No, he kind of looks. It's the hair. It's the sleek back hair I'm thinking of. Right. So I'm just gonna push him a bit more into shape. The eyes are definitely more sleek it than I thought. And as I dynamesh this, like, I can't do an impersonation of him. I really can't. And we need more reference, man. So it's all about the reference. At the end of the day, we need loads of reference. There's no point getting any extra detail. Oops. With you think about this camera angle here. What kind of camera lens do you think this is? And I'm actually going to take I'm going to enable my customize and take my camera field of view, bring it up here because I use it often. And it just helps me try to match. Now a good way to match is to see how much of like the side of the face. You can see in my side of the face is completely wrong. So that did help. Cheekbone is definitely not as prominent as it could be. So already I'm starting to find work. I'm starting to find things that need fixed. Now the ears go from the eyebrow to the base of the nose normally, right? And they sit kind of middle-ish, maybe back more. Some cases back more. Right, and I think I'm way too much with the skull, and the mouth needs more, and the eye needs pulled back, and this needs that, and this nose definitely isn't that shape. So all the side-on stuff is starting to prove a little bit needing of reference. Still not looking like Christopher Walken, right? And it could be like one of the main features of Christopher Walken is these lips that he's got. He's got this really nice upper lip. I find it's a nice upper lip because it's got such definition to it. It's just this kind of all compact in here, and it's gonna be a struggle to get to the point where it looks like Christopher Walken. It is going to be a struggle. Right, let's just rake some of that hair back, because again, what the fuck's going on with my rake tool? I have no idea what's going on with that. B, R. Alright, that's completely not working right. What? Why is that though? because this hair is in the way in the sense that it's not giving me a good impression of things. So I'm just going to start pulling the head about. It's too square. Lips need a bit more happening with it. I swear to God, the first time I did this, I pretty much nailed it. You know, the main form. But now I'm just not. And I can't just rush to a subdivision and hope that that's going to give me the answer. There's no point in that. There's something here that needs to click, and I need to keep working on it until I get to that clicking point. Right, might be a case of needing more reference. That could help, but there will be key features of Christopher Walken's face that eventually will come through, and did not come through just yet. I know what it is, but I just can't put my finger on it, you know. It's definitely not got a kind of, it's more, you know. And look at that pointy bit of the lip. So just try to work that in. Yeah, definitely need to divide, delete lower, and get more resin there. You dynameshed? Not dynameshed. Maybe we are dynameshed. Hold on. There we go. Alright. So no sculpt of a likeness hits the mark within the first hour. I think you might get there after an hour, but in the first hour you're going to struggle. So you do have to keep on at it, keep muscling away at all these bits and shapes until you get there. Eventually, well, there'll be something that clicks. There always is. Still not there. Still not there. You know, it's looking more like a pout now. That's what I was worried about. Like I'm pushing and pulling these lips that much that it's pouting out. You can see in the wrinkles and all this, like all the forms and all the wrinkles, you can see all of his expressions that he has, because when he has these expressions they create a crease, and those creases get stored in the skin, you know, so you can eventually start to read the shape of this. Nah, it looks more like Ryan Gosling or something there. So I'm going to keep on at this. You can see as I went to side on how effed up everything is. I need to work on that. Get that shape right. Now it's looking more like Nicolas Cage. It's dark eyes. But if we add a little eye bag here, a little eye bag there, that is a couple of things that are prominent in definitely some of his other pictures. Right, time to move on to more reference, because being stuck in that one reference has only given me a certain idea. Let's see who else we've got. Right, this one's good. Very it's got those baggy eyes I like. Don't know if we're gonna get some bullshit here. Open image, new tab. Wow. Look at that. Wow. Whoa. These crazy expressions that he does. Wow. You know, I just can't do it. Right, let's go for a bit more see-through. And the fuck, I've got Photoshop and everything behind here. Can barely see a thing. Come on, go away. Right. Jesus, now we get the backdrop. That's why you should have a clear desktop background. I'm just going to clear that right now because there's no way I can do this. Right, personalize the background, solid color, black, okay. Right, now we go back into ZBrush and there we go. So now I'm going to push his expressions around, but this is much more of a neutral expression, which gets us into the point of like, you do want to find a neutral expression if later you want to be able to express them your own way. Look at those bags, my god. Look at those bags right there. He's got big old baggy eyes. That is major. And I'm using the smooth brush and then letting go of shift while still drawing. Right, nobody gets that, but it's a really cool tool because it gets rid of the little pips in Dynamesh. Right, it's got a bit of a, it goes like that. I love that expression that he's got. You know. Let's go for a bit more of ZBrush. Let's move the reference over this side. Typical. Right, look at his hair there. Look at his hair. God, so much volume in that hair. I'm gonna try and get some of that in. Like a big frizz ball of hair. Wow, that's some proper hair. Plumage. Starting to look like Nicolas Cage. So another ugly phase is that you go through the Nicolas Cage phase, or the Bruce Willis phase, or yeah, this is just totally Bruce Willis phase. And the main reason is probably like he's got a quite a prominent filtrum, the bit between your nose and your lips, and then he's got this really kind of defined upper lip area. I don't know what you call it. It's kind of little labial bit of the lip. Some crap like that. Right, I don't know the technical terms. I don't even sound good when I say them. Get rid of this floor. And then got a bit of, always we've got a bit of something there. I still think my older version is winning at the minute. But maybe when I get past this ugly phase, it'll be fine. Still not looking like him, and I'm gonna blame the eyes. I'm blaming the eyes. Maybe just need to define this eyelid a bit more. Right, he's got a really kind of, yeah, I've got that bit, and then the bagginess here. And we got like a mole here and a mole there, right? Very subtle little moles, but maybe, no, still not there yet. Still looking like Nicolas Cage with good hair. Let's try fix his hair up a bit. I just don't know. I don't know if the hair's going to be the thing that sells it, but I'll get closer with this and eventually we'll get to the point. Just got to keep on at it. I'm not too worried about all this back stuff right now, but I'll put something in there just in case I look at it. Right, let's see. So the quality of that reference isn't great. I'm gonna keep looking. I want to fix up his lips a bit more. Oops, that's too much. Because I feel that upper lip of his is very unique. Even the bottom one, it's got these little kind of dimples in it or something. Still not quite there yet. I wonder if it's just the eyes need more work. I'd say we're about 1% there. I can see a tiny resemblance, but still a lot needing done. It's really baggy eyes. This eyebrow coming right over to one piece. The amount of head that you actually see because of the hair. Okay, maybe 2% now. That helped. The nose needs a bit more definition. Got something here, kind of like the bone or the tissue. nose, a bit more defined nostrils. So I'll use that Form Soft brush, really define those. He's got quite a sharp nose, I find. And once I find some more side-on reference, that will help. But front-on wise, it's not bad. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad. So I'm going to find more reference. I'm going to find some reference of Christopher Walken one of these days. You know, one of these days. Aha. Alright, this is a good one. I'm pretty sure this was the reference that I used before. And, you know, especially shape wise, look at, yeah, I managed to get a much better likeness because of the eyelids are very much, let's just come out of symmetry now. I think that's enough symmetry. Those eyelids and the eye shapes, they really help. They really help, you know. I just can't do the accent. Second bag. So you see this is where you benefit from an older version, is that you get much more kind of definition. You might get less mass and a bit more kind of sag, but it's easy to read the overall shape, I find. And there's certain features that are consistent through his life and his nose and things, and these are the things you come to recognize him for. Look at that lip, the way it's jousted in. Definitely something that I picked up on before as well. Look at that. It's got like a chin mannequin. Does that look kind of grumbled? Okay, probably about 2% likeness now. A lot more work still needed, but something's kind of working. The head shape isn't. Just doing that actually helped it. Okay, much more rounded here. But yeah, it's looking more like the younger version of him. As I smooth it out, it's looking more like a kind of younger one, and I think a lot of that is down to these eyelids. And the bags and the defined parts and all that. Just got to keep going, keep going. Now have a look at this lip that I've made. Look at that angle, that's more like a kind of 30-degree angle. So it's a lot more there, more pouted. Just going to bloat it out a little bit. So now I can see a bit of this skin sort of around here, all that stuff, and I can smooth that out. Alright, we're probably at about 3% now. I'm just going to change the camera angle because it's moving a bit too much compared to this. It's got a good front on shot. I don't know if maybe a bit there. Alright. Again, kind of working with symmetry off. I'm going to be right back. I'm just going to change this reference so that it's not obscuring my view too much. Okay, right, I could probably close that. Another good one up here. Okay, a good one of his nose and his brow. It's more like Arnie from Side On here. Okay, we're at about 3% Christopher Walken now, and gradually getting a bit closer to his shape. Right, let's do his eyes now. Hello?
Hi Rob, I just heard back from the interview, I didn't get it.
Okay, no Epsom then.
No, it but they, I mean, they were lovely. They said I scored really well and I scored really high. It's just a situation where a lot of other people scored quite high as well.
Yeah, I had a feeling
She said,
everybody's coming out of uni at the same time.
yeah, she just said, she was really nice, but she said it was lovely meeting you. And she said, just carry on doing what you're doing all right, like in terms of interviewing,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh,
So
that's encouraging.
there was no negative feedback at all.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can be relieved we're not moving to Epsom.
Yeah, I get a feeling we're not doing much till January, to be honest. I feel that we'll be here till January.
You know what it is? I just say to girls, it's really competitive.
Yeah, at this time of year it will be. Everybody's coming out of uni.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably about 1,000 Claras out there, to be honest, and it's a pick of the bunch, and it's a roll of dice, and it's pure luck because of that. So
I'm happy though he was like just compared to the first interview, really impressed. Like
yeah,
first interview they gave me some stuff to work on this month and just like just carry on what you're doing, carry on doing what you're doing.
oh,
So
that's good advice.
anyway, I need to get over it. There'll be other opportunities that come up.
Mm-hmm.
It was only a second interview anyway, so
Oh well.
anyway, alright, well, just here at Holland Park, what are you up to?
I'm just streaming making a Christopher Walken likeness.
Are you? Wow.
Yeah,
Who's your favourite then?
making a video. Yeah, he's my favourite guy. He's gradually getting there. He's taking his time, but he's starting to look like Christopher Walken a bit. It's about 3% likeness so far. Because it's a lot of noise in the phone. Anyway, I'll catch up with you soon. I'm gonna carry on with this. Alright.
Alright, see you later.
Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
That was the missus. She never got the job. And if I go into my Ramsey art stream, I might actually see. Yeah, nobody's watching anyway. Nobody's watching anyway. any good reference. It's like you click Christopher Walken and you get everything else. What's that all about? It's Jim Carrey. Anyway, back to this. Drawing all these amazing looking shapes on his face. I'll just go like symmetry for a while. Eventually I'll go for asymmetry. I don't profess to know exactly what Christopher Walken looks like. That's why I use reference. Who's not going to use reference to make a likeness? You're going to sculpt until it just looks like that person? No, you're going to use reference. It's the only way. Like, you're going to tell me you can sculpt somebody, a famous person, without using reference? Yeah, that'd probably make you pretty amazing, but I doubt you could do it. I really doubt it. Nobody could do that. Alright, so far it's taken shape, apart from, you know, the hair's a bit crap, but definitely better than it was 10-15 minutes ago. Let's go for a little dip in the old eyes here. It's got that little kind of happening here. Probably running out of definition in this subdivision, or this level of detail. It's actually quite good working with the older version, because there's a lot more happening there. Just draw what you see. Just draw what you see. It's like catchphrase, say what you see. Roy Walker. He's got a much meaner look on his lips there than I'm actually showing. I'd say it's recognisable as Christopher Walken about 4% now, maybe 5%. The ears don't get seen that much, but I'm going to put that down to my field of view, so I'm going to change that up a tiny bit more. And we're getting there, we're getting somewhere. The lips still ain't right. The nose still ain't right. The overall face shape probably still ain't right. 6%, give it 6%. Likeness. Recognisable as Christopher Walken? Yeah, maybe. How does this compare with my first sculpt I did of Christopher Walken? I'd say it's on par with it, because I basically left it looking like this. Very little asymmetry, very little. I kind of didn't like asymmetry too much back then. I felt like it was not as necessary as I would make it seem today, like, put it that way. He's got a mean look, isn't he? No, I spent all this time. Alright, so that is the first sort of pass at it, and it's hopefully recognisable as Christopher Walken at this point. I do need a break from it, so I can come back to it with a better mindset, perspective, whatnot. And eventually nail the bugger. So the more reference I look at, the more that I'll be able to refine this. I've looked at about 3 references and managed to take it this far. You see, I've no clue of really what happens behind the jaw here and things like that. So I just need to keep finding reference and graduating this to better stages. But I'm going to use what reference I can find to the fullest for sure. Alright, so Christopher Walken. Zbrush Fun 1. And that is all for the Twitch stream today. Or is it? Does anyone get any amazing questions? My model Shoto Yuri is cool. You must have seen that in one of my videos. So, I don't know actually, do I have Shoto Yuri up as a video? I've not even checked. It's terrible, isn't it? It's terrible. Let's see what videos I got. Yeah, or maybe you found it on ArtStation. Thanks very much. I actually paid someone to make it, and then I sculpted it, and I'm still sculpting it. But now I'm just sculpting my favourite guy, Christopher Walken, and God, he's addictive to draw. It's like he's just got bags of character. I find he's like my favourite actor of all time. A bit close to, I would say Morgan Freeman, but Morgan Freeman's everyone's favourite actor. I like to be a little bit different. I say nearly everyone, not everyone's, but right. So what I like to do is then divide it, because I get smoothing out of that. So divide, delete lower, bring up the resolution of Dynamesh, and then re-Dynamesh it. Right, and then I get a bit more. I do feel like I could do with a little break from this for now, but what should I sculpt? Should I sculpt Shoto? I think I should sculpt my Shoto Yuri. Go back to that for a while, or will I carry on Christopher Walkening? Place your bets. Place your bets, please. Quite like doing Christopher Walken actually. I don't know. Maybe I've not done enough yet, and I'm maybe throwing in the towel a little bit early. But I shall keeping on with this. Obviously he needs his eyeballs now. Otherwise he's not going to look very human. Doesn't have much of a definition about it. It's more of an inward definition, or the texture changes, or yeah, the texture and the tone mainly changes there. So looking at indent, out, bit of an in bit there. It's got a little kind of shapes here happening. Just take away that asymmetry. So should I work on something else, or should I just keep working on Christopher Walken? Starting to get a bit like him. I say we're at 10% likeness now, which is good. Could be better. Let's find more reference now, because I've kind of exhausted that one. That is my favourite one though. My god, look at him when he's young. Handsome fella. Let's do 90s. See if we looked in the 90s. That's a good one. These images are all JPEG to hell. Or 300 pixels. Or old. All these little wrinkles. I don't know if I want that much wrinklage. Let's do search by size. Large. I can't see any definition in that other than this cool wrinkle at his eye. Watch. Gives me an idea of the roundness of his face, that one. See what I can get from it. Nope. Just want that. It's a good detailed image, mind you. What was the detail in that? Right, let's see. It's difficult. It's got a bit of a mannequin happening there. It's more like that. Sorry, I don't have the chat up. Welcome to the chat room. If anyone's mentioned anything or asked anything, feel free to ask it again, or chat away. Trying to develop my Twitch a little bit. I've not really been active in it since I created it years ago, but I'm trying to see what it can become, and it could become anything because I'm a free-spirited sort of guy. I'm Scottish, so I've got a bit of an accent, if you like that kind of thing. A little bit about me. Maybe there's not a description here, but I teach how to do like 3D modeling and bringing things into game engines, rigging, animating, 2D, 3D, digital workflows. I've got technical art ability, make shaders and tools. Right now I'm just doing my own thing before I start back at university, because I'm a lecturer at London Uni. I teach little kids how to, well, little kids, I teach teenagers upwards how to do game art the right way for their games. Teach them different techniques, making particle effects, shaders, things you wouldn't really think about, and teach them Zbrush. Favourite thing to do right now is working with traditional media. I'm learning watercolour and oil paints, two mediums that I avoided for long enough. I used to use gouache and pastels a fair bit, colouring in pens, maybe even some spray paint and inks, pencil, a little bit of digital media when I was younger, mainly pixel art stuff. But so now I'm kind of like getting back into all that in a big way, and also sculpting, like buying clay and learning how to actually model something in real life, not just everything being digital anymore. Although digital is nice, I do get enough work and income from digital stuff. Let's give him a little bit of an ear here. See what other reference I can find. No way, that's Christopher Walken. Wow, need to watch that one. Ooh, gloomy. Yeah, very gloomy. Oh, that's a nice one. Okay. Oh, open image in new tab is what you want, boy. Alright, he might be older here, but there are some things that I can pick out. he's got this mole to the right of his nose, just here. And I guess when you start to add these sort of things, they become more recognisable. So even though wrinkles are like little soft bits of saggy skin, they can give you a good idea of where all the expressions have landed through his life, and it gives you an idea of where to place certain features and landmarks. Get an idea of all those expressions. Okay, he's about 12% looking like Christopher Walken now. Trying to gauge this whole thing as a percentage of not only accuracy but also likeness at the current stage that it's at. And I'm just critiquing myself as I go, because I don't want other people to critique my work because I maybe have a problem with it or a complex with trying to digest what they might be saying about it. And I like to keep a healthy self-critique. That way, you know, you can look at it the next day and have loads of things to say about it. So you develop that self-critique. You don't have to worry about other people seeing it. And then you don't have to worry about showing it either. Especially if it's not ready. You don't want to show people work that's not quite ready yet. Should I add in his eyes, maybe his actual eyeballs, because it's hard to work out. Oops. How small his eyes need to be. Definitely got a Christopher Walken vibe about it, but still a mile off or so, a few miles off, before it actually starts to resemble him properly. And it's just finding those will gradually bring the whole thing to a point where you can't deny it. Say maybe 15%. Right. That's a good score, I think. 15% after an hour of work. 15% lightness after an hour is pretty good. I mean, who can deny that's Christopher Walken, really? Who else could it look like? It could look like Frank from Grand Theft Auto, maybe. Is it Frank? Is that his name? I forget. I'm going to turn off that symmetry because it's a habit to make stuff symmetrical and I don't want to go down that road. like my asymmetry. You know, I was walking. I can't do impersonations of this guy. Wow. He's the hardest guy to impersonate. I've seen a few good impersonations of Christopher Walken, but this guy is difficult. I always try my best to do an impersonation of him, but it fails. Always fails. Right. So yeah, I'd say 20% now. He's looking Christopher Walken-ish enough to show people, and they will get it. They'll say, that's Christopher Walken. But needs a little bit more cowbell to it. Especially side on, because I've used like zero reference side on. I think I had a reference about that angle. So where we're going to find that? Christopher Walken side on view. Oh, oh. Got a really good one. There we go. Right. Jesus. This is where you see all the problems. I hate doing side-on views. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at side-on views at all, whatsoever. I do not like them. Look how far that ear is back. I'm not even going to give myself any credit for anything that I might have done right, because there's just so much that has been missed. It doesn't actually merit anything. It's just a process, really. Got to keep looking at reference, keep refining it, and until I've like exhausted myself, like maybe I end up bumping into the same reference 3 or 4 times. That's kind of when I'm like, okay, I get it. There's no more reference left. If I want to make them look any better, it would just be skin pores and stuff. So I'm going to use all that reference that I can find first before I even care about skin pores. Details that just won't sell it, because people don't look at skin pores, they look at the overall shape. It's really hard to see what's happening here. Let's change that brush material. I'm using clay tubes and Damien Standard most of the time. And sometimes I'll smooth stuff out, but I quite like the detail that's in this level, and then when I subdivide, only a bit of the detail gets lost then. And it's very similar to actually smoothing anyway, so I don't really need to smooth things out that much. Get where that eyelid sort of falls here. Okay, I'm really going to cut into this mouth now and try and make a bit of a hole in there. Just inflate these lips a bit. It's looking a bit more like him. Again, I'll be like my own critic with this, just because it's good practice. But if you think there's something that I might have missed, then feel free to say. Oh, dude, congrats on 14 or 1.4 Hair Strand. I'm excited to try it out soon. Ah, cheers, Indie Respawn. Cheers. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good that I've managed to fix some stuff. I've been meaning to actually Twitch stream the update. In fact, why don't I do that? Why don't I cut out for a second from this? Because I've been meaning to jump off this. Let's check out Hair Strand Designer, the latest one. Because, yeah, it's been a while since I looked at that. Right, I'm just going to stop this recording. And maybe I'll record. Yeah, I'll record what I'm going to do in a second. I'll see through it. Should really be saving these references, but it's fine. God, he looks like an old man. He looks kind of like, what's his face that does Green Goblin? Yeah. Anyway, so I'll save that. Let's have a look at Hair Strand Designer, why don't we? See if I can find any bugs as well. No. So I'll just jump into Game Maker, go the developer approach. Yeah, I'll show you some of the cool new features that both puzzle and intrigue me. I recently updated Game Maker Studio and then rebuilt the project, and then I had some errors appear, but it wasn't related to the new Game Maker version. It was related to some code that was missing, and it was something that I'd overlooked from like 2 or 3 versions ago, maybe about a month ago, and nobody's complained about it apart from one guy who's been really supportive. So we're at version 1.411 because that 0.1, that extra 0.1 basically was a fix for that error, and it was basically two variables missing in the strand mixer. So there's 3 mixer paths, and the last node, the X and Y position of the last mixer path, wasn't being written to the file, so when it was reading it, it wasn't reading any value, and it was coughing up an error. So it means you couldn't load your old Hair Strand Designer files. Yeah, but hopefully that might be fixed. Let's try it actually. Let's go ahead and load something that I know may cough up the error. So if I go into HSD demo. There we go. So if it does that, then you can either send your file to me, or you can go into it. I don't know if this will work, it's a theory. So you edit the file, and at the bottom it's got these. Holy shit, this is really old. Yeah, this is like 1.35. That definitely wouldn't be compatible. I don't know if I've got a kind of recent one. Don't really save them out that often. Let's see. Oh, there's a 1.39. That might give me the error. It seems to be struggling to load it. Right. So if you go into that file, this is a bit of an annoying bottleneck in the whole production process of Hair Strand Designer because of this one silly error that I never checked properly. Basically it was updating it so it remembered all the mixer paths, and I named one of them wrong and I also did the wrong number of points. Bad day at the office. Right, so you go down to the bottom and you can see all these mixed editing paths, right? So 0, 1 and 2, that's the 3 paths and all the points, the X and Y positions of all the nodes of all its paths that it uses when it mixes them in. It's the 3 mixer sliders at the kind of bottom middle of the algorithm. So basically there should be 22 of each, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then we're on to path 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's missing 2 nodes. So all I was doing was just copying that last node. Same, well, in fact, you could put X at 0 and Y at 3800. Right, so I really need to sort of copy that out. I'm going to copy this out because people might ask for it. Let's do a notepad. I'll test to see if it works in a second. Should do. Add this to the bottom of your HSD file. Right, and then, oh, save that to the desktop, HSD fix, V1411. So older files will have that, but when you save it, it will save it properly. So even the saved file was causing the problem, basically, and then the load file was struggling with it. So now let's check it out. Have we got it up? No. This is actually version 1.4. I need to change that. So if I load that one, it's not going to tell me the same thing, is it? That's a bugger. Did I actually add it and save it? Yeah, I never even saved it. So hopefully it loads that fine. There we go. It's loaded. That's the mess that I made when I left that file. I remember it. So you press F6, you can reset everything. Right, and these were the mixer paths that it struggled to save. So the cool thing now is that So you can set a number of strands, and for each set it will preview up to 60 strands. You can use the mouse wheel down to decrease what it previews, or you can use the mouse wheel up to increase what it previews, but it will really lag. I mean, up here it gives you the frames per second rate, 6 is what I'm getting. You can use control and down to decrease the definition, right? It's already at 0, it's already at its minimum definition. So now I can use mouse wheel up and try and get more. But if I do a bit of reduction, I'll get a little bit more out of that. Or you can put in the absolute strand count, so 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, 3, 2, 1, 1. That's actually a good combination, right? I'm going to do, that was the distances. Right, let's just change these to 0 and they'll just reset. Struggling. Let's just do the mouse wheel down. Reduce that bit. It's never going to perform really well until graphics cards get better. I'm actually pushing it to the limits as it is, showing all these strands as a preview. That's why it takes a while to show the actual final render. To show that in real time, you can imagine waiting however long it takes to generate that for each update. That's why I made the preview in the first place. Right, so now you go here and we're getting very close to the same result as the previewer. Right, bear in mind it's all down to the number of strands that you preview and the definition factor, but it's closer than it was by a mile, like a big mile. And that was annoying me for a while because I was trying to make little beard hairs, like little short beard hairs, like 100, 150, 60, right, something like that. And then let's just do reduction, full reduction, and make all these 0. We won't get anything in these if I make these 0. Alright, so there's our lengths. I'm going to increase the definition plus all that. You can hover over these and press down. You hover over each number and it activates for movement, and you can use the arrow keys. Right. And what I like to do is add variation. It gives you all random stuff. Tapering and waviness, and then minimum and maximum set to pretty high amounts. Let's do control and up to get a more accurate view of how it's going to look. So that's already like a good close representation of what we're going to get. Change the root coverage, change the tip coverage, and we'll get those other tones coming in there because there was too much coverage for the length. I was trying to work out the algorithm to make this proportional to the length, which I might do in a future one, a future update, so you don't have to like change the slider. But it makes sense, right? Because I don't know. We'll see. If you need to change that, you need to change that. That's the way it is. So change these up, make them more saturated. Change that tip tone. So the tip's got way too much coverage. I need to really kind of like bring that right down here. So it would be good to make that proportional at my end. You know, if I made that happen. And maybe also just general variation in the tone. I think I'll add that in. It's like, you know, you get these like the 2-tone variations. I want to have a slider that says like, you know, how much variation there is, because it doesn't seem to be mixing up so well. Made that a really dumb colour, haven't I? Change it to like ginger. And then variation helps that a bit. So then you've got this, and I was like, oh, I really like that. I don't like that so much, so I will try change the strand count in it to see if I can get something different. And it's almost like it doesn't matter what you do, you still get the same things. So I could then add a little bit more like taper, and then uninfluence the taper in that first one. Maybe a bit like that, and then like the algorithm for waviness and mixers, I think that is. I don't even know my own software anymore. It became unrecognizable. If I want to edit the mixers, I press F8, and I can, because everything's happening away up here, I can move these up to the top and change them up this way. Right, so this is mixer 1. That'll do for that. Press up and get mixer 2. I'm still working on this area. I don't know if I'll incorporate it into the other view somehow, just sort of have it floating above. It would be nice that we sort of see the change real time. And F9, F up, sorry. Just do a little kind of change like that, and then enter will take you back. Now I've got, you can see the weird change there. Let me change that to black. You see there's a weird change because I've got so much of a certain one in there, a certain couple of algorithms in the offset. Put the offsets at 0, means they'll be at the right position. It's this struggling to keep up with my mouse because it's just so fast. Right, but now I can change the amount of algorithm involved. It's nice to get that little stray hair though. And if I was to render that, what? Okay. And also the Y positions are broke. Bugs to fix. Bugs to fix. Alright, let's fix some bugs. It's going to be boring for you watchers, but I need to fix this now because now I know it's there. It's like, yeah, people are using this and that's not good. Let me figure out what the hell is going on there. The Y position's not been stored. I mean, it should be, because it's there. So that initial Y position's not been stored or not been used. Okay, strand YY. Should be in the step event. Let's just ignore that. Try this. What's that noise? Okay. Alright, there's going to be an update. Missed everything with a Zoom meeting. Had something about issues and it's a bummer, man. Yeah, I just came across an issue and I thought everything was really good until I came across the issue and just trying to fix it. One being the Y position wasn't being stored, so I'm just going to check that right now. let's just do 150 on that and 50 strands. Let's do a full reduction. Waviness. Let's see how that looks. Decrease the hairs. And let's move it down a bit. Let's just move it somewhere. Ah, damn it. So it's moving in X but not moving in Y. Try to figure out why that is. Okay, there's no Y offset. I see. Let's try that. Should fix it. And that should be if p less than 60. There was also another weird one where there was some weird long hairs. When this should be short. Let's do 50. Spacing, number of strands, bit of tapering. Let's change the root and tip a bit. Change that color to be something a bit darker. Bit of shuffle, bit of variation, render. So far so good. So preview our color map, preview our color map. So that's the exciting bit, is that the previewer and the render are close. That was the main issue that was at hand for the previous version. I heard Game Maker just came out with a new version. Yeah, I've updated. Most of it's my code that's wrong. Okay, I just want to check why I was getting really long hairs. I forget what I did now. What did I do? Did I add something to the mixer or these? Variation, high variation. Oh, should be algorithm on that. There we go. Shuffle up a bit. Let's do more taper. I think variation doesn't need to be like that. So let's say that's a nice beard sort of shape. We'll just use the mouse wheel, increase the number of hairs we see, and then generate a color. Yeah, that's fine. Let's move it around, make sure that's working. Just really gonna move that over here using shift. Let's generate that. Okay, the waviness is way too much. Here's another issue. Right. It's more bugs than I thought. Frequency, amplitude. amp factor, lerp, waviness, amp factor. So what I've been doing is taking any random elements that you see applied to the previewer and keeping them intact. But then I wonder if that's because I went more than 60 strands. Or it could be the position. Some weird stuff happens. Let's just do, so lengthwise 500, number of strands 50. Let's just reduce everything else. Waviness, loads of waviness. Control mouse wheel up to get a bit more definition. Mouse wheel up to see more strands, bit of tapering. Reduce these tones. Change that to kind of reddish. A little bit of variation. Right, I'm going to save that. I'll call it beard setup. Right, now that that's done, render it. That's fine so far. Let's move it around. Render it. Okay. I think I know what's happening here. Let's move it down further. I need to be able to copy the settings from one to another. I mean, I could, I guess, just put in 500 there and 50 there. I'll get two versions of pretty much the same thing, bar a few random things. Yeah. Okay, the Y position's affecting the waviness. Didn't notice that before. That's weird. Number one. Let's move that way down to the bottom. Well, let's take that number two, move it down. Let's just do 550 in there for another one. And hover over that and move it over a bit as well. Right, I want to see what's happening here. Yeah, waviness is getting worse based on Y position. Okay. Cool. Waviness. Waviness. It's quite fun debugging sometimes. It can be fun trying to figure stuff out. So something's using the Y position to make the waviness. Step. So it's commented out. Point direction. Okay, what's this? That's what it'll be. Y offset. So there's a Y offset thing here. This one. Fingers crossed that fixes it. That won't actually fix it, will it? No. That won't fix it. It's to do with the amplitude. It's definitely not that one. Sorry, this is a bit boring, but I'm glad that you came along and Respawn. You actually inspired me to look at this again. I just assume everything works. That's the problem. I spend that much time on it. I just go, all right, everything's good, and then yeah, you get something different from the previewer. That's the key thing at the minute. Is making sure everything ties in with that. We can say something about the amplitude being affected. Okay, that's final X, isn't it? Final X. Deviation from X times frequency. Drag Y X and tapering. It's getting quite complicated. Life times tapering. Man, I have no idea. Okay, what's the draw? What's the preview doing right that the final's not doing? Look at that. So Frizz, any one of these uses final X. It's the final X. Offset B plus. Oh god, they're really different, aren't they? Taper influence. Taper. Oh man, that's madness. I know what it is in my mind, you know, and it's just like, I just need to find the bit of code that deals with it. Lerp X, position, waviness, amp factor, strangle life variant. Yeah, it's nothing to do with life, it's just weird, the Y position. Sign deck driver. Okay, this might be it. Y offset. This could be the bugger, and then it would be B. Do those two first. Hopefully that's it. It looks like the code I've been looking for. Let me see, load the beard. Set up, let's do 500. I never saved that color right. See that? No, it's fine this time. Don't know, maybe I clicked something. Okay, so make that 500, 50, 500, 50, move these, and this one. So they should all look like that. Let me save that. And color map me. No. Definitely in the step event. In maybe it's negative. Here we go. Thank you, Indie Respawn. You've been an inspiration. Just your existence has created a change in the world. I wonder if I should save the colours out as well, because you might be disappointed that you don't see the same colours. I could do that. Let's do that. Let's make version 1.42 then. You get to see some inside information. Must be dead good fun. Must be brilliant fun. It's been fun making it. And I was supposed to be making Hair Strand Designer 2, but I got sort of happy about making updates with this one and knowing that you've not quite finished it. And then when I came to Hair Strand Designer 2, I just had so many headaches, it made me want to cry, and coming back to this made me happy. So I'll do as much as I can do with it, and I guess we're getting close to that point where I will move on. I've been looking at using Unreal Engine as well for Hair Strand Designer 2, so hopefully that still is a possibility. I want to use Niagara particle systems and bring in your own hair mesh, and then you actually see it in real time. That would be amazing, but for now it is just a texture generator. Alright, what did I do there? I saved it as 1.42. Now I need to go to version, just update all that stuff. And say 1.42 here. People are saying like updates every day. It's a bit abnormal for software to be updated like every other day. I should really spend more time doing a proper update. That is my answer to that, but I'm just so excited. I'm an excitable person, can I say. I'm a happy chappy to see people happy, and it comes with it's a double-edged sword. It comes with its own backball of, alright, he rushed that one out. So let's store the colours. We can do this. Come on. let's store some colours. We can store at least the first 60 the same way as I store the first 60 previewed strands. Yeah, let's just so that the previewer looks like the strand color. So that the previewer looks like the final render and vice versa. Say C white for now. Okay, that's what we use. And then when we generate the color inside draw, where's the color? Temp color, tip color custom, draw color. Okay, that is what we want to store. B for this number, B for the sets and B for the strand. You see my variables are very well named, B and V. I get used to them. Equals color custom, and now I should be able to call these when it makes the final render. Straggle X. Color custom. Where did I define color custom? Up here. If V less than 60, because that's the previews that we show up to 60, then color custom equals strand color BV. Let's see if that works. I'm just so happy about the previewer working better, because now, like, was it yesterday or 2 days ago when I was trying to use it to make beards, I was just like, this is crap. It's like, how can people like this? But I guess people like the notion of what I was making more than the fact if it worked 100% or not, which is good. Right, let's just do a color map on that, and hopefully, I lost everything. Okay, let's do that again. Something's amiss. Temp color, red root tip. Have I done that right or have I done that wrong? Huh. Drawing width. Draw set color. That's strange. I guess it's a per point thing. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. I think because it happens as it dots the hairs going down, you might not be able to save these. Let's see, temp red, temp green, temp blue, temp color, make the color, the root. Okay, that's the variation root and tip. Tip. There's a root tip and there's a, yeah. Temp color, where's that? Yeah. I guess you don't really have control over those. Anyway, that would have been nice. I think I know what I need to do. I need to make up each of these. I think I need to make up each of these, like root and a tip. Variation, root and tip. But I don't think that's important right now. I'll get this update out. I think that's more important. Just come back to that later. Because I don't want people sitting with a broken version for too long. This requires a little bit more thinking. Just check that's okay. Custom, yeah. Let's just comment that there. Separate. Strands. Alright, let me just double check that all works there. Okay. I guess bar the colour actually looking like the previewer, which is neither here nor there really. I'm not too worried. Right, what was the other problem I had? Hair strands became very long all of a sudden. I'm not too sure why that was. Let's increase this to 70. That seems fine. Algorithm influences. Let's move these about. Offsets. Can't really recreate that. Look at that. Look at it. Look at that. It's the same, more or less. I mean, the only difference is that I've done 70 strands here, so I get more than I can preview. I'm only previewing like 26 anyway. 37. If I put this up to 60, then it's going to slow right down. But if I bring down the definition with holding Control, I'll see a bit more. Okay, so then let's reset that. It's amazing how well that works. It's almost alien to me. I don't understand it, but it's working. Let's do some really thin hairs. Thick variation, thick range 0 to, I'll do 1 to 6. Don't look that thin to me. Put that down to 1. Yeah, cool. Let's do a few of these. Oh yeah, the blur button works a bit better now. You just hold it down, you tap it, or you can hold it and it will just keep blurring. It's not the best blur in the world, but it's in case you need it. It's just that little bit. It's good for the AO map. Just applying a little bit of blur to that helps. Obviously you want to make these a bit more bigger. And that is what you'll get at the end, but you might want to take up more space. I think that's good. Let's push the update 1.42. Did something change there? Did I break it? So I don't see that I pressed enter, but anyway, 1.42. I'll just go into Photoshop. Now that we're on like the 1.4 range. I still need to do documentation. I'm so lazy though. Just so lazy. It's terrible. I'm trying to do more videos than documentation. Videos help. Documentation is boring. Reading through a document, trying to find the bit that makes sense, whereas a video can just get straight to the point. And I think the last video I did was okay, apart from it being broken. I think it might be in here. So you've not used it yet, Indy. So I don't know if there's anything that would help. That you still playing with the Unity version? Oh, the Unity version fell apart when every time you updated the algorithm, it just lagged big time. GameMaker just seems to be really good at managing stuff, or I don't know, maybe it's just the way that I understand Unity. Like if you make a change to a texture, you have to do like a texture update, and that whole process in itself is a big sort of batch of memory that it calls out. Whereas GameMaker, I'm just saying, just plot, always draw the texture, but just plot on it. Whereas Unity is more like plot on the texture, then update the texture, and that whole update the texture was the thing that was taking too long. And then Unreal Engine was basically giving me the same problem, but I figure if I use Niagara particle systems in Unreal Engine and render through the camera, then I could probably make it work, and I could use shaders and stuff. Probably make it work. Need to start in a project where you can really sit down and use this. Yeah, so do I. I mean, it's been annoying because all I wanted to do was make hair. Sorry, I'm answering your question from like half an hour ago properly. You might not even be here anymore. Who knows? It might just be me. Right, I want to change the loading. My god, everything's really slow. I've got a file that's 1.13 gig. Photoshop can't even keep up with it. I get a 16 gig machine and it's still probably using hard disk space to draw something. I don't know what the hell it's doing, but it doesn't make sense. I think I have to wait on it caching all the undo buffers that might surface. Right, come on. Be quicker just loading the original image and editing it. You know, that's probably not a bad idea. Because I've no idea what this is anyway. I think this is it. Yeah. And I guess I'll just do that. I was also want to update the icon actually. That was another thing I want to do today. I'm going to do that right now. Let's open the icon. Right, let's make a better looking icon. Let's see. Something a bit more in line with how good it is. Some nice curves. They're really bad. I can't draw for my life. The problem is with Photoshop we don't have smoothing on lasso. So what I'll do is I'll just draw it. Let's do a gradient. This. God, that's awful. So what I should do, I should render out strands in Hair Strand Designer itself. Makes the most sense, right? That's what actually led me to make this thing in the first place, was that I couldn't draw a bloody strand for my life. So you just get an algorithm to do it. Let's see, we need only a few, certain size. We just need a few strands. Let's go for 5 strands. Let's go for 4 strands actually. And space them out a bit. Let's do a little bit of spacing, shuffle. Big bit of thickness. So low there, thickness maximum, minimum, maximum, and tip thin on the root thin. Doesn't make much sense this, it should be the opposite way around, but I'm not going to complain. I made it. I guess both of these could be dark, couldn't they? And then I can change the range. Don't know if that's going to be enough. Make them shorter. We get a random. That's a nice one. Generate. Alright, go with that. I'll just snip screen it. And then Photoshop. Is it NAF or is it NAF? God, I'm not very good at graphic design. I used to be good, but I would think I was kidding myself at the time as well. I like the original logo, but I just want it to look better. So let's take that logo again. Can I just open? Yeah, let's do that. Size. make it look like an H and an S, like Hair Strand, and then a D would be good, but everybody wants the D. None of these look like D's. More like B's. That's okay. Alright, go with that. New logo. Done. That's fine. Oh, I think I need an actual icon file. PNG to ICO. File. 256. Load. Alright, that seems to be that. Let's just check it. And then I just need to update some info. Preview bug. Just make people do the hacky thing. That would be that. Eventually these will just disappear and they won't matter so much, but it does feel a little bit embarrassing. I need to do a special thanks to Indie Respawn. I need a credits page eventually, so you will be remembered. I'm going to actually put in here, people to remember. Indie Respawn. And another good guy has been Rodesca. It's also helped a few other people from ArtStation, so I think that is good. I'll release this version now. So 1.42, here we go. Another nice daily update. Let's just go into ArtStation. good. It's done. It's released. Let me know if you see an update or if you don't. What you should do. I think I will update the other products as well. Just update the info here. I'm nearly as bad as Unity for updates. The updates they bloody produce just drives me up the wall. I can imagine that it's a similar deal with my stuff. But at least I'm not a big company, so it's not as bad. All the different sites where I've got it, I need to basically update. It's a pure pain. Demo. Let's go to Gumroad while that's doing that. You can see my Gumroad's doing extremely well. I'm minus $10.20. Had to refund someone. So that's how well my shit's doing. I've made $638 from my hair shaders and Hair Strand Designer though, and Gumroad itself. It's nothing to write home about, but it's a humble amount, enough to pay for a few pints for me and my colleagues. One, 4, 2. Every time I do an update, this is the process I go through, so I really should be checking stuff. It's such a pain. Bum, ba bum, ba bum, bum, bum. No, you don't. going to change the price of that. Otherwise we're going to end up cutting ourselves short. Boom, 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 boom. 142. So you got 142, 142. Yep. And this is just the demo. The demo. Save changes. And I think that's it. Send. If you ever get into marketplace stuff, this is the bollocks you have to go through each time. So yeah, make sure you double and triple check your stuff. Unlike me, who just goes for it, makes an update and then it's broken. Hair Strand Designer 1 for demo, 142 demo. Okay, we don't need that one anymore. Save that. Standalone, edit that one. Browse. 142. Need that one. And that's that. So Gumroad, CG Trader, and ArtStation, and there's one more. Is it Render Hub? See, I don't do very well in these stores. I don't bother with them as much. But seeing as that's quite a significant fix. I should update these. And it's more expensive here because they take a silly cut of like 50% or more. They take a ridiculous amount. Look, I sell that at 8 and I get £4.40 royalties. So they take a big cut. That's why it's more expensive here. But 20 is maybe a bit harsh. Let's go 16. Don't mind making about $9 from it. I don't want to be greedy. Is that going to save? Hopefully. Upload zip file. Pardon me. Yep, on there. There we go. 0.42 regular fixes. Again. Nobody will get that issue here because nobody's really bought it, but it'll do. It'll do. Select product. Envato Market. 3D Ocean. Barely ever even updated this one. gosh, what's my sign in? I'm gonna have to go email hunting. Right, done. The ocean. Okay. And we're in. Okay. See how much amazing money I've made here. Dashboard. Oh, thanks for the comment. It's the only thing I've got uploaded, to be honest. Someone asked if I could upload it here because they can pay by Bitcoin or something, which I thought was dodgy, but in the day they're buying it and I still got paid with real money, so I don't use it very much. Folio. Okay. Update, managed, update item. Choose file. Main file, that one. Message to the reviewer. No message to the reviewer. Just there you go. The optional attachments. No. Good, we're all updated. So workflow wise, I've been looking at using Zbrushes, cloth tool on hair strips just to make them fall into place. But I don't know if that's a very good idea. Especially not for really kind of stylized, nice looking hair. I don't think it's a good idea. I'll see if I can load it up and show you what I was doing last time. That can go. That can go. So waiting on ZBrush loading. Okay. Yeah, this is it. So I made these hairs in Hair Strand Designer. Just change that to half size. You can see a little bit of anti-lacing. I'll change the document. Right. So yeah, I made these hair strips in Hair Strand Designer, just super basic straight ones. And I just realised actually there's actually a cool thing we can do now with Hair Strand Designer. If you've made an old texture set, you can load that in as a template. Let's try this. Oh god, I feel tired there. Oh. It's fine, I'll manage. Oh, sexy new logo. Alright, stupid demo mode. I think I might have, yeah, I don't even need the same map. I don't need to load the HSD, I can basically load UV image. If you click this, you can load up a UV image. I don't know if the textures are actually in here. Yep, so I'll load up the depth one, and then I can basically change the opacity of that, so I basically see behind. Right, and then I can make the, click that, click this, and then click this one. Yeah, I should get everything being that colour. Just helps me see it. Number of strands, change the background to black. Oh, that works, right. And I can basically take like set 1, move it into place, set 2. In fact, I have to bring it that over there. So it's like 2 sets. Sharing. Means I won't be too far off the existing UVs on those areas. So set 6, I can then change the algorithm and all that good stuff. Later I want to be able to make it so, you know how you can override set 1, 2, 3, 4, like all the way up to 11 with lengths and strand counts in the algorithm influences and stuff like that. I want to make it so that you could change nearly all the things for each set. But that means I'm going to overhaul the UI quite heavily and be a lot of work. I won't change the code too much, but yeah, it's a bit of work involved. So set 7, you can change that to like 3 strands, move it in place, so on. So it's good for that, right? That's all I'm just basically saying. I don't want to do it now because I was showing you something, but I've loaded these strips in and split them down into subtools. So I basically made one full texture plane and put the texture on it and then divided it up and brought them in and then just gave them different, you know, split them into subtools. And then I basically copy one out. So I can do, is it duplicate again? Control Shift D. And then I can move that copy, move it where I want it. I don't know if you'll enjoy this workflow as opposed to using curves or bones or whatever method you might decide to use in the end. But basically I do that, and mask the bottom. Just mask that bottom area and run the cloth sim on it. Oh, I think I need to update the collider. So I'll just do collision volume, run sim, and it's a bit too, give it more firmness, turn the collision off of the floor, gravity, reduce it a bit, or give it more iterations, either or. They slow it down so that it doesn't get stretched. And then you can use B cloth pull and sort of pull bits around. Just going to turn off that. Actual. And then use B smooth cloth, this one, and you should be able to fix the edges up. And if you want to taper it, you can just smooth the end. Turn gravity off, won't have as much of an effect on it. I think cloth pinch at Alt might expand it. No. You can also use like any of these, and it's kind of like, imagine it affects the brush as you move it about, it will try to expand that area, but you can do unmasked this and then just run a simulation or inflate. You might want to try different axis. Not the best thing to use, and it's really up to you, depending what kind of hair you're using. Use my regular brushes to pull it about. Interesting way of doing hair. There's a few different interesting ways. I thought it was pretty good because, you know, you can load in another texture and it will look different, and then you can just layer it up. And the cool thing is you got your subtools here, and you get your little folders to manage things. I've actually got a couple of layers of hairs on this, merged hairs as well, and I've kind of copied them and moved them about so you get even more coverage. So I could like duplicate that one and then move those about, and that's even more layers of hair. Obviously you might have some duplicates, but yeah, you can easily just Control Shift tap on those. Oh, if you do auto groups like that, then you can delete hidden. Move some around. You could even do another cloth sim on it if you were to do like a mask on the top area, so I'll just mask some of this root area so it doesn't move. And then a little bit of gravity, a little bit of distance inflate, and if run the simulation, oops, unbrushed, I'll get these hairs kind of trying to come out, but I'll do that and expand a little bit, inflate a little bit. So yeah, you can build your hairs up that way, or you can use your usual methods, like I like using bones and then just rigging all the hair up. It's not going to be animated, but it just gives me a bit of control. I'll fix some of these hairs by smoothing them. Fine if it's daggy, easy hair like this, but when it comes to stylized hair, yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, I think it's still cool in Zbrush that you can just kind of pull hairs around. You don't have to run the cloth sim on it. And the texture's just been applied to a plane, and to get the transparency, where is everything? Yeah, that's the base strips there. To get the transparency, that's just in the texture itself. Sometimes you have to reapply the texture, but that's the slider for the threshold transparency. See, it's only working on the selected mesh, but if I choose this one, and that means it will correspond with the color map at the end of the day. And that can look quite good when you do the BPR render. You get all the transparency coming back in. Say quite good, I mean, I suppose it's okay. Better to render in marmoset toolbag or something. But yeah, you can see through the strands and the shadows cast and stuff. So yeah, basically been exploring that method for making hair, but it's up to you. It takes a long time either way. Alright, I'm going to go and get some food prepped for the evening. Thanks for watching and being keen about hair stuff and all that. I think this started as a sculpt, Christopher Walken sculpt, and evolved into hair. Catch you next time. Bye bye. Bye. Bye bye. Bye.